I thought we had the perfect marriage. 10 years, 2 beautiful kids, a home we built together brick by brick, memory by memory. Mark and I were that couple, the one everyone looked up to. We were a team, partners in crime, best friends. Or so I thought. The foundation of our life, what I believed was solid granite, turned out to be nothing but sand, ready to be washed away by the next tide. And the tide came in the form of a single photograph. It was a Tuesday, a day no different from any other. Mark was out for his weekly basketball game with friends. The kids were asleep, and the house was finally quiet. I was tidying up the living room, a routine I found calming. His phone was on the coffee table, buzzing intermittently. Usually, I wouldn't even glance at it. We trusted each other implicitly. But this time, the screen lit up with a notification from a name I didn't recognize, followed by a photo preview. Curiosity, that little devil, got the better of me. I told myself it was probably just a work thing, a group chat, anything innocent. I picked it up. My hands were trembling slightly as I unlocked it. We shared passcodes, another symbol of our perfect trust. The photo was right there. It was her, my wife, Sarah. But she wasn't alone. She was wrapped in the arms of another man, her head resting on his chest, a smile on her face I hadn't seen in years. It was a smile of pure, unadulterated happiness. A happiness that clearly had nothing to do with me. They were on a beach, the sun setting behind them, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. It looked like a scene from a romance movie. But this wasn't a movie. This was a dagger twisting in my gut. I scrolled through the messages. The picture was just the tip of the iceberg. Weeks, months of conversations unfolded before my eyes. Secret meetups, whispered sweet nothings, plans for a future that didn't include me or our children. I wish we could just run away, one of his messages read. Her reply? Soon, my love, soon. Each word was a fresh blow. The man's name was Alex. He was her colleague, someone she'd mentioned in passing as just a friend from work. A friend. The word tasted like poison in my mouth. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. I couldn't breathe. 10 years, an entire decade of my life, of our shared history, felt like a lie. Every anniversary dinner, every family vacation, every I love you she'd ever said now seemed tainted. A performance for an audience of one. Was any of it real? I stumbled to the bathroom and stared at the man in the mirror. His face was pale, his eyes filled with a storm of confusion, betrayal, and a pain so deep it felt physical. I wanted to scream, to smash the mirror, to break something, anything, to release the pressure building inside me. But then I looked past my own reflection and saw the framed photos on the wall. Our wedding day. The day our son was born. Our daughter's first steps. These were real. My love for them was real. And in that moment I knew I couldn't shatter. I had to be the rock they still needed. When Mark returned an hour later, whistling a cheerful tune as he walked through the door, I was sitting on the couch, his phone on the table in front of me, the picture still on the screen. The smile vanished from his face the second he saw mine. He knew. There was no need for accusations, no room for denial. The silence was deafening, filled with all the words we weren't saying. Sarah, he started, his voice barely a whisper. I just looked at him, my expression unreadable. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I felt strangely calm, a chilling, hollow kind of peace. The storm inside had passed, leaving behind a desolate landscape. How long? I asked, my voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil I felt. He flinched, unable to meet my gaze. A year, he confessed, his eyes fixed on the floor. A year. For a full year, he had lived a double life. He had kissed me goodnight while dreaming of another woman. He had held my hand while his heart belonged to someone else. I didn't ask for details. I didn't want to know. The picture and his confession were enough. The trust, The very soul of our relationship was dead. It couldn't be revived. There was no going back from this. "I see," I said simply. He started to stammer, a pathetic string of apologies and excuses. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to. I was confused. I still love you." The words were empty, meaningless. Love isn't a weapon you use to hurt the person you claim to cherish. I stood up and walked to our bedroom. He followed me, begging, pleading. "Please, Sarah, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. Don't throw away 10 years. Throw away? He was the one who had set our life on fire. I calmly opened the closet and pulled out a suitcase. I started packing his things. T-shirts, jeans, his work clothes. I folded each item neatly, methodically. It was a surreal experience, dismantling our shared life one piece of clothing at a time. He just stood there, watching, his face a mask of desperation. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice cracking. "I'm giving you what you wanted," I replied, my voice even. "You wanted to run away with him. So go, be with him. Be happy." I zipped up the suitcase and another duffel bag. I placed them by the bedroom door. I wasn't throwing him out in a fit of rage. This wasn't about revenge, it was about respect. Respect for myself, for our children, and for the good years we did have before they were spoiled by his betrayal. I refused to let our ending be a screaming match. I refused to let our children wake up to a war zone. Our story deserved a more dignified conclusion, even if he didn't. I walked back to the living room and picked up my car keys. "You can stay here tonight. Figure out your next steps. I'm taking the kids to my parents' house in the morning before school. We can discuss the logistics of everything else later, through lawyers." His face crumbled. This wasn't the reaction he expected. He probably anticipated tears, rage, a dramatic scene. He didn't expect this cold, quiet finality. He didn't expect me to walk away with my head held high. As I walked out the front door and into the cool night air, I finally allowed myself to breathe. The pain was still there, a giant gaping wound in my chest. But alongside it, there was something else. A flicker of strength. A sense of liberation. I didn't lose a husband that night. I lost a man who didn't value what we had. He didn't walk away a legend. He simply walked away. I, on the other hand, was the one who walked towards a new beginning, scarred but not broken, ready to rebuild my life on a foundation of self-worth and genuine love. It was the end of our story, but it was the start of mine. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this piece of my journey with you. If you've ever been through something similar, know that you are not alone, and your strength is greater than your pain. Please consider liking this video,